Anyone who's been following the news the past few weeks has probably heard of some of the serious flash flooding that has occurred in Arizona lately. I mean, just look at the pictures. Cars being swept down rivers, streets being underwater, you name it. But what exactly is causing all this flooding? The answer is a very strange and unusual weather pattern that doesn't happen in very many other places on Earth. It's called a monsoon. Now, before we get into what monsoon season is and why it's important, I'd appreciate like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future content. Okay, so what is a monsoon? Well, the technical definition of a monsoon is the cycle of how winds shift throughout the year in certain areas throughout the world, and how that corresponds to how much precipitation falls in certain parts of the year. But 99.9% of people simply refer to the monsoon season as the period when these wind shifts cause more moisture. Most people are familiar with the monsoon season in India, which occurs between June and September, and usually leads to almost non-stop torrential downpours across the continent. However, the Indian monsoon actually has a North American counterpart, and that's what's causing the flash flooding in Arizona right now. So, what causes it? Well, it's kind of complicated, but simply put, a ridge of high pressure pulls moisture from a nearby body of water and pulls it inland, causing widespread showers and thunderstorms. In the case of the Indian monsoon, this body of water is the Indian Ocean, and in the case of the North American monsoon, it's the Gulf of California. The reason why Arizona doesn't see nonstop torrential downpours like India does boils down to one thing. The Gulf of California simply isn't as big as the Indian Ocean, so not as much moisture is available. Now, I've been making it sound like the monsoon is a completely stable weather phenomenon that always shows up at a certain time of year and disappears at a certain time of year. The truth is, however, the monsoon is extremely erratic. Take the North American version of it, for example. Normally, the high pressure ridge that pulls moisture into the Four Corners sits over Texas and Oklahoma, putting it in the perfect position to draw moisture from the eastern Pacific. This isn't always what happens, however. In 2020, the ridge sat on top of southern Arizona and New Mexico, completely shutting off the flow of moisture from the Pacific and causing the Four Corners to be plunged into an extreme drought that featured wildfires and record heat, a drought they are still recovering from. This year, however, the ridge was in the perfect position to not only pull moisture from the Pacific, but also from the Gulf of Mexico as well, pumping even more moisture into the region. The result has been an extremely robust monsoon that has featured storms dropping several inches of rain in a matter of hours on some Arizona cities. While this has caused a little bit of chaos in the aforementioned flash floods, this has made a serious dent in the regional drought, even causing some rivers to exceed the stream flow seen during February and March when the winter runoff happened. While the Indian version of the monsoon isn't quite as volatile due to a bigger and more consistent moisture source, they get so much rain that even small deviations are a big deal. A 10% decrease compared to normal is considered extreme drought, while a 10% increase compared to normal is considered a deluge. So, when can these regions expect the flash floods to end? Well, despite their differences, both monsoonal patterns happen at the same time of year, from June to September, though the North American version starts a little bit later. While August is still a pretty big month for both regions, things start to dry out in September as the winds shift once again, this time not bringing torrential rain, but cooler and drier weather. And that wraps up this video on the monsoon. As always, I appreciate like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for future content. Thanks and have a great rest of your day.